Assalamu alaikum, ya Imam.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Ara ń gbóòórùn wọn. Ẹ mọ̀ fáwọn àbàdàn máa ń gbóòórùn ara wa.
Prof, mo kí yín o.
Ahlan wa sahlan, ẹ káàbọ̀ ẹ kó ń gbẹ o.
Ẹ káàbọ̀ náà, ẹ kó ń gbẹ.
Òtútù yẹn ló ṣe mí díẹ̀ báyìí o. I'm quarantined and adjusting.
Honorable.
Ẹ pẹ̀lẹ́ má fara lẹ̀.
Yes, I ṣe mo dúpẹ́ o. Yes, sir.
Honorable.
Máa ń gbẹ́dẹ̀ àkọ́kọ́.
Assalamu alaikum. Have you finished the adverts? Alaikum. Alaikum, Brother Hassan.
Assalamu alaikum. Just give it 1 minute, please.
I just wanted to be sure.
اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا ليعذب الله المنافقين والمنافقات والمشركين والمشركات ويتوب الله على المؤمنين والمؤمنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. We give praise and adoration to Almighty Allah for sparing our lives to witness another Man UK online Ramadan program. O you who believe. We ask Allah to please bless our noble prophet, his household, and the people that follow him to the end of time. How time flies. OU Believe started just last year, just like yesterday. It has now become a household name of Old Kent Road Mosque, Alhamdulillah. My name is Falila Tulubumi Alabi, and I'm your anchor for today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Without wasting much of your time, I would like to give a quick rundown of today's program. First of all, I'd like to thank every one of us, thank all our donors on behalf of OKR Project Board and the entire members of Man UK. Thank you for your donation. The donation is still ongoing. So we're going to be showing all the various ways in which you can be part of this laudable project throughout Ramadan and beyond, inshallah. So hasten up to good. Ramadan is a time of buy one, get one free. I know for sure that you get the same reward as the person that you call to do good. So please hasten up to do more of that good deed. And if you are joining us from another country, please note that UK time is the same as that of Nigeria now. So kindly adjust your time according to your location. You can use the hand raise icon to ask questions verbally, but we would much rather you use the Q&A or the chat column to ask your questions so that we can go through many questions within the stipulated time. So now let's listen to the recitation from the Holy Quran from our sister, Mariam Akiyemi.
Alaikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم الصيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون أياما معدودات فمن كان منكم مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر وعلى الذين يطيقونه فدية طعام مسكين فمن تطوع خيرا فهو خير له وأن تصوموا خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان فمن شهد منكم الشهر فليصم ومن كان مريضا أو على سفر فعدة من أيام أخر يريد الله بكم اليسر ولا يريد بكم العسر ولتكملوا العدة ولتكبروا الله على ما هداكم ولعلكم تشكرون وإذا سألك عبادي عني فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلكم يرشدون صدق الله العظيم.
Allahu Akbar. Thank you so much for that beautiful recitation. May Allah bless you and accept it as act of ibadah from you.
Amen.
Today we have a panel of scholars in the house. We have Dr. Imran Alawiye, Dr. Musa Ibrahim, Dr. Dawood Amsa, and we now crown it all with our father being the moderator, Professor Mashood Baderi. I would like to hand over to him now to do all the introduction. Bismillah, sir.
Jazakumullah khair jaza Alaja Fadila for anchoring us for our first outing this Ramadan. Today is the first of Ramadan. As you rightly mentioned, this program started originally Ramadan last year. So it's really very exciting for us moving into another Ramadan now. As you rightly mentioned, we are doing something new. I mean, this first week of Ramadan, we'll be having panels. I mean, today we have a panel of Islamic academics from our community. We want to showcase a panel of Islamic academics And as you have seen on the posters, the topic of today is welcoming Ramadan with a framework for success. So our academics, our panel of academics, I will introduce them soon. Well, look at various questions which I will be putting to them, and we'll do all this within 45 minutes or so that we have time for questions, and they will be here to answer our questions. And tomorrow, I think we'll have a panel of our mothers, Muslim mothers from within the community. We have identified some of our Muslim mothers and sisters who will also form a panel for tomorrow. And I think on Thursday, we'll have, a panel of our community of imams within the community who will also be answering some of your questions and also looking at some issues. So, then after that, we'll go back to our traditional way of doing, bringing one speaker each day of Ramadan throughout the month of Ramadan. Alhamdulillah, it's very exciting. Being the first day of Ramadan, and the topic we want to look at, as we said, is, welcoming Ramadan with a framework for success. Today, we have 3 scholars, from our community, actually, to show that we have very qualitative people within our community. The first, person I want to introduce is, Dr. Imran Hamza Alawi. Dr. Hamza Alawi is an author, is an established, accomplished author. He's the author and publisher of series of books for teaching modern standard Arabic to non-Arabic speakers in non-Arabic environment. His books are very popular. Many of us, will have known it. It's called The Gateway to Arabic. Then the series include The Gateway to Arabic, The Key to Arabic, Arabic from the Beginning, and Arabic Without Fears, and Let's Speak Arabic. So he has written so many series of books in Arabic. Now his BA and MA are in Arabic literature from the Arabic language and literature, actually, from the Islamic University of Medina in Saudi Arabia. Then he did his PhD from SOAS, the School of Oriental and African Studies here in London. And as we know, SOAS is a very big institution, particularly in relation to the study of Arabic and also the study of Islam in Europe generally. So we are in very capable hands with Dr. Imran Hamza Alawi. Secondly, he will be joined on the panel by another doctor. I said we have a panel of academics today. Another doctor, Dr. Musa Abdul Rahim. Dr. Musa Abdul Rahim is the head of our Markaz, the head of Markaz at the Markaz Center for Arabic and Islamic Studies in the Old Kent Road Mosque. He also had his PhD in Maqasid Sharia, that is, the objectives of the Sharia. And he has been participating in shaping the education policy and interfaith dialogue in Southwark Borough of London for some time. He currently serves as the chairman of the Southwark Muslim Forum, and his role as a chaplain includes visits to prisons for dawah, and he also works as a setter and assessor at the Cambridge International, a branch of Cambridge University, UK. He's at the head of the Markaz, which is building our future leaders, looking after our children to nourish their Islamic faith and also to give them Islamic knowledge. So thank you so much. As I said, he also represents one of the qualitative Islamic personnel that we have within our community. And last but not the least, I'll be introducing another doctor. So we have a panel of doctors today, so I have to really be very, very careful in the way I put questions to them. He is Dr. Hamza Dawood. Dr. Hamza Dawood is a teaching fellow, is currently a teaching fellow at SOAS, so the School of Oriental African Studies, University of London. And he, before coming to the UK, he was also a lecturer at the Faculty of Law, University of Ilorin, in Ilorin, Nigeria. He currently serves as a minister of religion at MAN UK. And despite this, Dr. Hamza is one of the class teachers. He's a PhD holder. Actually, he wrote a fabulous, PhD thesis addressing some of the contemporary issues we face today in the world. His PhD thesis looked at the impact of international law on the application of Islamic law in Saudi Arabia. Very, very grounded, work. But despite that, he helps to teach children, our small children in the Markaz, attesting to the quality and value we place on building the future. So we have, you are in great hands. We have really a great panel that I will be moderating. I'll be putting questions to them, and we'll be having a discussion. It's not, the question and answer really, but it's a discussion on various, issues regarding Ramadan. Now, as I said, it's about welcoming Ramadan. Now, many of us, from Nigeria, and many of our Nigerian audience, know that, in Nigeria, we have a way of welcoming Ramadan. Many of us do remember this very, very, very much. In English, actually, the welcoming Ramadan is in English. So, in Arabic, I would say, Marhaba bika ya Ramadan, Marhaba bika ya Ramadan, Marhaba bika ya Ramadan, Marhaba bika ya Ramadan. So it's about welcoming Ramadan. Now we need to understand it well. We know that, today being the first day, we need to be able to understand it, to build a framework of success, to be able to understand, what Ramadan is about and to benefit from it completely. So I'm really pleased to be welcoming our team of discussants, the panel. Now, I think the first thing we might need to discuss and look at is, we know that when Ramadan is coming, it's really very exciting. All Muslims are excited. So what I want us to first look at is, why are Muslims so excited about Ramadan every year? Is it just, is it just some sort of a rite? Is it culture? When Ramadan is coming, you see Muslims are so excited about it. So why are Muslims excited about Ramadan? So let's have a discussion of this. Let me first, bring in Dr. Imran Alawi to give us his view, on why do you think Muslims are so excited? Should we be excited about it? And if we should, why? Dr. Imran? Okay, perhaps maybe Dr. Imran has not joined us yet. Let me then go on to Dr. Musa, if you want to come in on that one.
Prof. Dr. Imran is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a connection problem?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we can hear you and see you as well. So I hope you heard me.
Marhaban bika ya Ramadan.
Yes. Yes, marhaba bika ya Ramadan. That is if Ramadan is a meal, huh? Our sisters to say, why don't you say marhaba bika ya Ramadan?
Exactly.
So why are we, we're excited. That shows the excitement, really. Why should Muslims be excited? Why are Muslims really excited about Ramadan?
Subhanallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, wa nusalli wa nusallim ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. Dr. Imran, it appears that you are a bit low on the screen.
It's my cat making all these things. I don't know.
Okay, it's better now. Yeah.
Better now, it's a bit?
Yes, it's better.
Bismillah. Now, it is a very interesting question, I would say, and one that it can be answered in various ways. And of course, that's the whole purpose of the question, to give people various angles in which they can address this. The way I see it in terms of being excited about Ramadan, the way I see it myself is we are in a journey of life. And as a Muslim, we know our destination. And we know that we need help. We need to be admitted into a new center of treatment, in a sense. We are running out of energy. Sometimes we need, thinking about the COVID, we need to be resuscitated, and we need more oxygen. And Ramadan is a time that a lot of free gifts is ready for us to obtain. So here we have our Lord Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Ar-Razzaq, Al-Ghaffar, giving us not one day, not 2 days, a whole month of earning and improving our saving, improving our chances to be admitted, to be given tickets to where we're going eventually. So it's free and it's in abundance as well. That's the way I see it. That's why when Ramadan is coming and say, yes, freebie is coming. Opportunities coming to give me a chance to better myself and to have access to improve my soul, and opportunity to send ahead of me number of things. So that's how my mind processes.
I mean, that's really very, very, informative, especially, after the COVID. I mean, you mentioned the fact that we need more oxygen, like we need more oxygen for our faith. And actually with the lockdown, with COVID, we really need some, practical, literally we need more oxygen, but you are putting it in a spiritual sense, which is really very, very intriguing. Now, let me go on to Dr. Musa Abdurrahim, head of Markaz, to give us his own perspective on why Muslims are excited when Ramadan is here.
Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
أرى نفسي بين أساتذة الأجلاء وشيوخ الكرماء. May Allah reward every one of you abundantly, and my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. I would like to answer this question from the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he says that كل عمل ابن آدم له إلا صوم في معنى الحديث فإنني أجازي به. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, every action of human being, is for him, except Ramadan, that I'm going to personally reward him by myself. If you look at this particular hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as my Dr. Alawi mentioned before, every one of us will be preparing for Ramadan. In fact, what we learn from hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallam, another hadith says that when it's come to Ramadan, the Prophet will be the most generous person. He used to be generous, but when it's come to Ramadan, he will try to give more in the month of Ramadan. It means the Prophet also prepare himself for Ramadan. He give everything out. So every one of us will be preparing for Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khairan jaza. By also bringing, it in the perspective of the hadith, and it's also quite also helpful to be able to remember that fasting is special, and Allah says he will reward it by himself. Actually, there are some scholars who say there's another version, a riwayah, which says, wa ana ujziya bihi. That is, I will reward it with myself. So you find out that, it's really a very, very exciting time. Dr. Hamza Dawood, what's your perspective on our excitement about Ramadan?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحابته أجمعين. I want to thank the house, and I want to congratulate every one of us by saying Ramadan Mubarak. Actually, when you find yourself in the chamber of the scholars, and then they have come out with their expertise expression. So, and then you ask somebody to talk after they have talked. You leave that person in a very cogmere of academic efforts. Nevertheless, as we used to say in Yoruba language, now you see, my perspective of this question is this. The question raises a very important poser, and that is, what is the connection between soul and body that the observance of Ramadan seeks to explain, especially at this particular point in time, where we are just emerging from the global text of Allah, as Dr. Alawi has rightly observed. Now, in that case, I try to look at it from the perspective of the concepts of monotheism, Tawheed. So the entire event has come to prove to every one of us that there is one Almighty that is controlling everything about our life. Now, from that perspective, then the question is, what is the relevance for Ramadan in that regard? Like, and we know that the pillars of Islam are 5. Ramadan is one of them. All of the pillars of Islam are serving as expression, practical expression of this Tawheed, that is recognizing the uniqueness and almightiness of Allah. So Ramadan, of course, is a practical expression of that, the concept of Tawheed. And another perspective of it is that it's unity and universality of humanity that require a shared value. So Ramadan provides a platform to reenact this shared value. Look at it. If you look at this media, social media that we are having now, anytime I look at the life in the wild, you see animals, the way they live, they devour each other. Then when you ask yourself, for what purpose? Just for eating, So the same thing we find in human beings. So if you remember what happened in the 19th and 20th century, the Atlantic slave trade, where many people are victims of this particular unfortunate historical event. So what is the purpose of that? Just for eating. And then look at what is happening in Nigeria, where kidnapping has become the enterprise. What is the purpose of it? Eating. And that is why one of these, the Arabic poet said, فَعَارٌ ثُمَّ عَارٌ ثُمَّ عَارٌ ذَكَاهُ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ حَجِّ الطَّعَامِ. Everything is running up and down because of how to feed himself, how to live.
Yeah.
Now, Ramadan has come to tell us that you have to check the animalistic tendency in us. So, and because of that, and that is why Allah say, "Kutiba alaykum siyam, kama kutiba alal ladina min qablikum, la'allakum tattaqun."
Jazakumullahu khairan jaza. Thank you so much. I mean, that's really very, very good. And I mean, to sort of, summarize all these, especially by ending with, that verse of the Quran. Perhaps it is also correct to say that it actually helps us to confirm our own faith in ourselves. Our faith in Allah. You mentioned Tawheed, because it says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. And fasting is a secret thing between us and Allah. So anybody who is able to fast, you confirm to yourself that you are really a believer, because nobody sees you. And nobody, something, just a statement. Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam. And you stop eating, even though we eat all the time. So it confirms to you that, yes, I'm indeed a believer. Because if you are not a believer, you will not really stop yourself from eating. Jazakumullahu khairan jaza. Now, after we have identified, the reason why Muslims are excited, for us to gain all the benefits of Ramadan, we need to know the main rules of fasting. Now, because of time, I want us to be brief. I'll go now first to Dr. Musa. If you can just give us perhaps maybe a couple, maybe 2 or 3, main rulings in sequence, so that, I'll then pass the ball to the other speakers now to also make contributions in that regard. What will you say are the main rules of fasting in Islam? You are muted, please. Yes.
Jazakumullah khairan. The main rules when we are fasting is, first of all, we know that we should not eat, we should not drink, and we have to stay away from sexual things, having conjugal relationship with our wives. And we should make sure that when we are fasting, we don't use vowel language towards one another. In fact, this takes central position. Not only that, okay, I'm fasting, I'm not eating, I'm not drinking, so I can just say whatever I want to say. We have to stay away from this. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakumullah khair. So apart from eating and drinking, we also have to watch our tongue. But then, you said we not eating, not drinking. Is it for 24 hours a day, Dr. Hamza? Can you comment on that? Are we not allowed to eat and drink for 24 hours a day or speak foul language 24 hours a day, Dr. Hamza?
Thank you very much. Actually, I want to look at it from this angle. The omnibus rule of Allah on fasting is that where Allah make it compulsory. It is the omnibus rule is that fasting is mandatory on every Muslims who is sane, adults, able, and residents, with exception of those people who are insane, children, the elderly, the chronically ill, and then the pregnant woman, and then the ill and travelers. But apart from that, when we have this omnibus rule, then the question is, who are those that must fast, as you have said? So if you have the health, you are resident, and you are not you don't fall to the category of the exceptions, then you must fast, and then you must observe the rule. What are the rules? Number one is abstaining from food and the drinking.
But that has been mentioned. That has been mentioned. Yes. If you want to add anything to that,
yes. What I want to add is this: you must not eat intentionally. Then you must not do something. You must not deliberately cause yourself to throw up. That is, you must not force yourself to vomit. Then you must you must not subject yourself where you can have a kind of ejaculation for reason other than sexual intercourse. And then you must have intention to fast. There must be niyyah. The niyyah it must be there. Then and again you must avoid foul languages. You must avoid something that can provoke your hunger. You must refrain from anything that that can vitiate your fasting.
Jazakumullah khair jaza. Thank you so much. Let me now go to Dr. Dr. Alamgwe. I want you to focus on. I asked the question whether is it time limited or is it 24 hours? Everything that we are talking about. And then secondly, due to the situation we are in now, I want you to look at, when we talk about the rules of fasting, for example, if a person is sick and they have to take injection, for example, the vaccination for COVID and things like that, in relation to the rules of fasting, do you want to address that, Dr. Hamza Alawi?
Yes, it's a time limited. Quran is specifically tell us that you stop eating from dawn to sunset, so it is limited. Just before Fajr, you do your suhoor, you eat. Prepare yourself for Ramadan, because the idea is not to hurt yourself in any way. Then you continue until Salatul Maghrib, and you start eating again. All the things that has been prohibited, so that been relationship with your wife, with your husband, is now can be resumed. So that's fine. So it's time limited. And what's the second part of the question? Is
taking vaccination, injection. And let me add something. Can we have a bath? Can you use perfume? Things like that. Can you explain on that, please?
Yes. Whatever it is not going to be nutritional, it is allowed. It's not something that nutritional to your body, such as taking vaccination. It's fine, because you are not really providing nutrition to your body. That's fine. You can brush your teeth, For as long as you don't swallow things, it's fine. You can use your perfume if you want to, because it's not to eat. The law says not to present yourself. So it's time limited, and whatever is not going to give you nutritional, you are allowed to do so.
Jazakumullahu khairan. You know, when we were young, and we used to, they used to, in Yoruba, in our language, local language, Ramadan is called Awe. You know, you don't bath. You know, when we were young, you know, they usually say that, you don't have to bath and things like that. So does bath vitiate your fast?
No, you are allowed to take bath. You observe, even when you are living in the country which is very, very hot, if you can go and have a shower.
That's right.
There's no problem.
So it's not for fasting is not for punishment. You read Allah bikum al-yusr wala yurid bikum al-usra. Thank you so much. I mean, I know there might be questions in that regard again, but it's really very good that we've addressed this. Now, let me now go, I mean, after having known the rules of fasting, now, perhaps, I mean, I want us to just a few minutes each, maybe two points for each person. If you can just give us 2 points, what you think are the best ways, the ways to benefit maximally, you know, the way to benefit maximally. I mean, if you can share your thoughts on how we can benefit maximally from the blessings of the month of Ramadan. We know Ramadan is a blessed month, but I mean, can you tell us just 2 points on how we can benefit maximally from Ramadan? Let me start with Dr. Hamza. 2 points on how to benefit maximally, please.
Yes, there are many ways we can maximize the benefits of Ramadan. The first one is spiritual upliftment. That is, we should engage in the act of ibadat, then seeking forgiveness for our sins, then try to engage in ibadat, recitation of Quran, and giving out zakat. We are talking of how to fund our projects now. Anybody who has money somewhere, donate the money now. This is an opportune time. You know, I was saying that, and you must not waste time in maximizing this benefit, because today now is 1/30. Tomorrow it will be 2/15. That is arithmetical progression of Ramadan. It's always very, very, very fast. So, another thing is health benefits. Health benefits, it boosts our brain, it's lowering your cholesterol level, all these kind of things. And then social benefits are there. There are many benefits.
Thank you so much. I mean, spiritual benefit, we should find ways of benefit as well spiritually and also physically as well in relation to our health improvement. Let me go to Dr. Imran Alawiye now. 2 points on how to maximally benefit from the blessings of Ramadan.
Number one, assess what you promised Allah last Ramadan. Check how far you fulfill that promise in terms of improving your iman, improving your action. That's number one. Number two, see whether you have managed to abandon some skeletons which is in your cupboard, and make sure you did not acquire new ones, and then see how you want to improve yourself for the future.
That's evaluate yourself. And you are the best person to really evaluate yourself from last Ramadan to now. So this Ramadan should be better than the last one, and do this one as your best Ramadan, because you don't know whether you'll be doing the next one. Okay, let me go to Dr. Musa now. 2 points to maximally benefit from Ramadan.
Jazakumullah khairan. First of all, getting the blessing of eating sahur. لأن الرسول يقول تسحروا فإن في السحور بركة. He directed us that we should make sure that we eat sahur, down meal, before Fajr. And in fact, there is a specific hadith of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that says that من تعار من الليل فقال لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير وسبحان الله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. The Prophet says that whosoever wakes up in the night and says this dua without ablution, whatever he says, Allah will accept it. So it's an opportunity for us when we wake up for our sahur, we do this dua. So this is the first point. Second point is we should try to make sure that we make dua anytime for ourselves and for other people as well. Even the people who wrong us, we should try to make dua for them. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakumullah khair jaza. Sahur is very important. You know, I have friends who ask me all the time that, I mean, they find it difficult to wake up and eat in the early part of the sahur and things. I said, look, even if you have to wake up, because fi barakah, even if it's just a sip of water or milk, you know, to get the barakah. Thank you so much for that. Now, I mean, we'll be rounding up a little bit now, but I have, I mean, one more major question, and also I will give you opportunity to give general advice to the Muslims for this month. So prepare your mind for that. Now, the next question we want to look at is, I mean, I also want just make 2 points. So, what are the common mistakes? What are the common or even uncommon mistakes which we should try to avoid during Ramadan fasting? Dr. Alawi now again.
Well, first of all, people make a mistake by assuming that if they do certain things, we mentioned before that you cannot brush your teeth, that if you don't pray Salatul Taraweeh, your Salat is not valid, your Sawm is not valid. The people may think if they have intercourse with their wives or their husbands, and they are unable to do the spiritual ablution, that they cannot continue their fast, and that's not correct. The fasting.
You mean overnight? You mean in the night?
Overnight, not during the day.
I want us to clarify that,
yeah,
because I don't want people to misunderstand.
No, and because that's very difficult to happen actually, because after all, you need to pray your Salat al-Fajr.
Yeah.
In any case, but if it happened that maybe slept or something, that doesn't nullify your Salat.
Okay, Jazakumullah khair jaza. Dr. Musa, maybe 2 uncommon mistakes or common mistakes that people should avoid.
Yeah, we should try to avoid, you know, eating too much.
Yes.
You know, we need to check hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that says that if you want to eat, divide your tummy into 3: 1 for food, 1 for drink, 1 for hair. You know, some people, when it's come to the time of iftar, they eat to the extent that they cannot even stand up, you know, when they are doing their tarawih, they will not do it properly. You know, we eat, but we need to make sure that we eat in moderation. And second mistake that we sometimes make is we eat, you know, for a long period of time before Fajr. According to the hadith, hadith says that if you want to eat our sahur, we eat it closer to the time of Fajr, so that, you know, we'll be able to maintain ourselves during the days. Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakumullah khair. That's really very, very good. I mean, some people, as you read, even, you know, Imam Ghazali mentions this in his Siyah, that we should prevent against it. There are some people who want to compensate for what the fasting during, I mean, iftar. They want to eat double, and some want to compensate at sahur. They want to eat double. I was actually discussing with my wife earlier this evening, because when we were eating sahur, I said, I just want a very small, I don't feel like eating very small. I said, this food is just too small. I said, now I was telling her this afternoon that, I mean, because of the fact that I ate minimally, you find out that today I've been so agile. I've been working, marking papers since morning, yet, you know, I feel so fresh and agile. And if you look at medical science has also proved, if you eat heavily, you'll be tired because of the fact that you are overworking your digestive system. Your digestive system will be doing much more work and you get tired easily. You know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has already indicated this, so we have to follow that. So, I mean, Dr. Dawood, can you mention 2 common mistakes or common which we should avoid?
Yes, first of all, delaying or breaking the fast. As it has been rightly mentioned, the Prophet ﷺ encouraged us to delay our sahur to the last time of the early morning, and then to break the fast. We should not. Some people erroneously believe that if they fast very long, they have more reward. We should not do that. Number 2, this the problem of concentrating on social media. We should not allow it to overtake our commitments to ibadat, reading Quran, and then doing all those that can harm and not reward. We can engage in social media if it is for the purpose of educating ourselves on Islam, but for engaging our time, wasting on our time on unnecessary on social media, please let us be careful on that. May Allah guide us all right.
Oh, Jazakumullah khairan jaza. Thank you so much. Very, very, a useful, informative session. Now I will go around again to ask just for your general advice, simple general advice to Muslims globally in this month of Ramadan. Dr. Hamza first.
Well, we can see now that what is going on in the world, Allah has proven to us that we should come back to Him. Our scholar used to pray that there is no running away from Allah. If we run away from Allah, we have to go back to Him. So what has happened since last year shows that we have to be conscious of Allah, and that is the message of fasting of Ramadan. Allah says, "La'allakum tattaqun." The fasting is ordained on you so that you be conscious of Allah. It is very, very important that the world will now have a rethinking about the policy that every government is introducing in the world. The policy that is diverting attention from commitment to Allah, from believing in Allah. All those things that the policy are promoting to get people away from Allah. Please let us appeal to the government to review those policies.
Jazakumullahu khairan.
For individuals, let us increase our iman and our belief in Allah.
Jazakumullahu khairan. Commitment to Allah, be conscious of Allah. We should not be diverted from Allah, especially during this time of Ramadan. Now, Dr. Musa Abdul Rahim, your general advice to Muslims in this month of Ramadan.
Jazakumullahu khairan. The advice I would like to give is, if we want to read in this month of Ramadan, we should try to make sure that we read a lot of Quran and we stay away from reading rubbish things. And the best thing to do this is we should try to read from the book, put our phone aside, because it's a distraction. The moment you take your mobile phone and it's ringing, that distracts you from reading your Quran. Of course, if you go to the mosque and you want to read, because you can't carry the Quran to the mosque because of COVID-19, but at home, take your Quran, the book, and open and read and try to understand words of Allah. And we should try to put it in practice. Jazakumullahu khairan.
Jazakumullahu khairan. I mean, if there's any time we should read more of the Quran, because the Quran, the month itself is Shahrul Quran, Shahru Ramadan alladhi unzila fihi al-Quran. So we should celebrate the Quran in Ramadan. And Dr. Ibrahim Musa have indicated that we should keep away from distraction from the phone and read it from the book, from the Quran itself, which is really a very good advice. Jazakallahu khairan jaza. Let me now go on to Dr. Imran Hamza Alawi for his advice, general advice to the Muslim community.
Right, let's remember at the beginning I said that we are excited because we want to get as many reward as possible. It's an opportunity, free, easy to obtain. So quite often people translate Kutiba alaykum siyamu as Allah has prescribed, which is very revealing, which means you prescribe medication for somebody who needs it. So we need that prescription, and we must make sure we apply it effectively so that we can gain the immunity that we are seeking, which will enable us to continue our journey during the coming months and years, inshallah. The way to do that is to do all the things we mentioned: reading more Quran, do more salat, do more sadaqah, and so on.
Oh, it's really very philosophical. Kutiba, prescription. It is. It's a prescription. And, a lot of the time we don't think about it in that way. And when your doctor prescribes medication for you, you stick to it. You take it, religiously. So, if fasting is prescribed for us, in order to increase our taqwa, we just have to stick to it, do it properly, and also read the Quran. Wallahi, this has really been very, very useful and also very informative. I want to thank, our panel members for, sharing their knowledge and also, advising at the end. But you still wait behind. because I know there are questions. We will want to you to, address those questions, which we'll look at in a few minutes after we have gone into the back room for a brief interlude.
أهلا وسهلا يا رمضان شهر التوبة والغفران مرحبا بك رمضان رمضان شهر الذكر والإحسان أهلا وسهلا يا رمضان شهر الصدقة والإكرام مرحبا بك رمضان رمضان أهلا وسهلا يا رمضان أصوم نهارا وأذكر ربي وأتلو القرآن ليشفي قلبي سأقوم ليلا حتى الفجر أشكر الله أصلي وأدعو الله أن يغفر لي وأدعو أن يتقبل عملي وأدعو ربي أن يدخلني جنة الخلد أنا وأحبابي أهلا وسهلا يا رمضان شهر التوبة والغفران مرحبا بك رمضان رمضان شهر الذكر والإحسان أهلا وسهلا يا رمضان شهر الصدقة والإكرام مرحبا بك رمضان رمضان أهلا وسهلا يا رمضان.
Do you know where this hat originates from? You probably guessed it right, Nigeria. This is one of the oldest Nigerian Muslim communities in London. This masjid was a nightclub, then a pub, and subhanallah, now it is a masjid. You probably would have only seen hats like this during Jummah a few years ago, but as time has passed, we now have so many different styles of hats because our community has grown to become so diverse. But the masjid has also grown 100 years in age. This means the structure of the building needs repair work, and if we don't work on it now, it will end up costing us a lot more. We need to increase our capacity from 2 floors to 6 to accommodate all of the extra worshippers and to take in all of the extra kids on the waiting list to become Hufadh. As of right now, we just don't have the capacity. Supporting this masjid will mean that you allow us to keep on carrying out our salawat, our Quran lessons, madrasa, nikahs, janaza, and so much more.
We were really a spark, and then we took what we had at that time, as I've said, with the encouragement from the Pakistani community and the Bangladeshi community, with their commitment to work of dawah, we started from our own Nigerian Muslim community as well.
So we ask you, from the bottom of our hearts, from the Old Kent Road Mosque in South London, please help us fix and build our masjid. We are looking for 8,000 people to give just £100, roughly $120, and we can start the development work immediately, inshallah. Please, please, please click on the link or the button and donate now. Jazakumullah khairan.
Jazakumullah khairan jaza. You know, I mean, that interlude, it's very beautiful. An interlude, a clip on welcoming Ramadan. I mean, reflecting almost everything that we've said in relation to what we have to do in Ramadan, reading the Quran, praying to Allah, month of sadaqah, and so on and so forth. Very, very beautiful song in that regard. And then this was followed by the appeal for our mosques, which is also a new clip on how the mosque came to be, the Old Kent Road Mosque came to be, and also the need for us to rebuild it. We have mentioned, actually, this is one of the reasons why we started OU Who Believe, last year, Ramadan, and in order to raise funds to rebuild this mosque. And inshallah, we are committed to starting construction after Ramadan this year, in May, towards the end of May, we'll be moving out to a temporary place, and the old building will come out. It's old. I mean, it's over 100 years old. And there's going to be, the whole area, not only the mosque, is going to be redeveloped. And therefore, whether we like it or not, I mean, that building will become an eyesore in another few years. So we need to bring it down in order to meet up with the regeneration of the area. And secondly, I mean, the building itself is old, you know, so it's quite, I mean, important that we get this work started in May. But we cannot really start except, I mean, we have the resources and funds. Alhamdulillah, I mean, all along we have been saying that we needed 800,000 pounds. We have money at hand. We need 1.6 million to be able to start the first phase, which we want to start in at the end of May, inshallah. And I mean, we had 800 pounds at hand, and we're looking forward to raise another 800 pounds to meet the 1.6. And I mean, over time, you know, we did the fundraising, online fundraising event on the 27th of March, I mean, which was really very, very successful. And we moved up, I mean, with the fundraising. Now we want to be as transparent as possible, inshallah ta'ala. I mean, I think maybe from tomorrow, during the interlude, we'll be showing you on a daily basis, you know, as the donations come in on a daily basis, how we are moving on with the donation. Now, based on the fundraising that we did in March, donations and the pledges have moved us up. So now what we are looking for to be able to raise within Ramadan, up by the end of Ramadan, now instead of 800,000 pounds, we are now seeking to raise 650,000 and a half, 650,590, so about 660,000. So we have raised up to about 150,000 since then, from the 800,000 we're looking for. So now, you know, what we are looking for is 650,000. And we are calling on all our listeners, all our viewers, all Muslims across the globe. Anyone who is listening, you know, this is, you saw the song, you know, one of the names of Ramadan is Shahr Sadaqah. You know, it is the month of giving. The Prophet gives a lot during Ramadan. So we call on you, and this is an opportunity. Look, just last night, and the project coordinator will bear me witness on this. One of our donors who donated to this cause, you know, who donated $20,000 to this cause during the fundraising. I sent them an email. I sent them a text on WhatsApp. I said I thank them a lot. For really, and she replied back. It really boosted my morale. She replied by, he said, you see, when you donate to the cause of Allah, like building, he said that is it's an irony. He says when you donate to the mosque, people come back to thank you, but that should not be. It is they who are given the opportunity to donate who should thank us. Wallahi, this is what the lady said. She said, no, he said it's an irony that she's donating to build a mosque because she knows the benefit of that, because she's actually donating it, in memory of her father, or it's a family donation in memory of their father who died, so that Allah will put a nur in her qabr and accept in Al-Jannah. So she was saying that don't thank us. It is we who should thank you to giving us the opportunity and making us part of history for the rebuilding of this mosque. So this is the way we should see it. If everybody saw it like that, you know, our job will be done already. We will not really push too hard, because Muslims need to think that way, that when a mosque is being built and we are called to do so, we are providing an opportunity for people to be able to earn the rewards of Allah. And whatever you do in Ramadan, the reward is manifold, you know. So we are calling on all good people, you know, of the world. Please, 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 as was said in that video, please, 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 you know, please, 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 please help us build this mosque. Take this opportunity. You know, nothing is too small, nothing is too big. I actually hope that we'll get a big donor, more big donors during this Ramadan, you know. So, you can do it through, Launch Good. You can do it through, please place up the, account, the account details again online for people to be able to see. You know, we have the pound sterling account. You can, if you are donating, I mean, in pounds. We have the Naira account if you are donating in Nigeria. We have the Euro account number. We have the US dollar account number. Please, let's keep this on the screen. Don't take it away. Let's keep it on the screen, as we are really calling on people all over the world, you know, to be able to donate. There are so many Muslims all over the world. You know, you will see what Tawfiq mentioned there. When he was doing the clip, he says, we just need, you know, 8,000 people to donate 100 pounds. And we have billions of Muslims across the world. You know, if we could get this, just 100 pounds, 8,000 people, that's it. The job is done. You know, so we really call on everybody. Don't think that, we all have to be part of it. Don't say that, well, others will do it. It is our responsibility, all of us, because it is our mosque. You know, if we don't do it, nobody is going to do it. So we hope, inshallah ta'ala, people will continue to donate onto this. And by tomorrow, bi'iznillah, whatever comes in based on this appeal today, we will upload, we will update. You know, I told you today that our target remains now 650,000, let's say 660,000. So tomorrow, whatever we raise, we will let you know, and we'll load down and see where we are. So we hope, inshallah ta'ala, every one of us listening, and all Muslims all over the world, will want to be part of this history. We will take this opportunity, as you know, the Daily who donated $20,000, was saying that, well, we are not to thank her. She did it for Allah, and she actually wants to thank us for giving them, the family, the opportunity to do this. May Allah replenish all our pockets, and may Allah make it easy for every one of us to be part of this history, and to fulfill this project in our lifetime. Jazakumullahu khairan jaza. Now we have 30 minutes, you know, for questions and answers. The panel is still fresh and they're available. So we now go to control room now. We want to take questions for the panel to answer. Questions, please.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Just to also say that all the links to make the donation is in the chat box. People can just follow those links to make donations, inshallah, instantly. The first question is, are people with dementia exempted from fasting?
Mashallah, that's a good question. Are people with dementia, we know what dementia is, are they exempted from fasting? Dr. Imran Alawi, what's your take on that?
Fasting, one of the requirements to have present mind, as well as to have the body to do it. So the health and the awareness is essential. Somebody who is not aware what's going on around him or her, in Islam, responsibility diminishes as the sense of awareness also is going down. The answer is, somebody doesn't know where she is or he is, so it cannot be responsible and require to do the fasting of Ramadan, because the demand is not there.
Jazakumullah khairan jaza. As rightly mentioned, you know, you need consciousness and also appreciate what you are doing, know what you are doing. What I would just want to add to that is, dementia have very different levels. You know, it varies from person to person. If you are in doubt, ask your doctor. To be able to give you a good assessment of what the state of mind of that person is. Because you just talk about dementia, could be very low level, could be very high level. So if a person's mind is not present, you know, they are not mukallaf, that is, people who, religious obligations are made obligatory upon them. Wallahu alam. Further questions, please.
Could you have a shower? I think this question has been answered.
Did answer that, yes.
Yeah. So the next question is, can you follow streaming Taraweeh under the current circumstances of COVID restriction?
Yes, this question has come up a lot. People are saying that, can we join Taraweeh or prayer by Zoom or by streaming? Dr. Dawood Hamza, can you help us answer that?
Allah knows the best. I think there is no jurisprudential evidence to support the ideal of joining Salat by streaming. So the Salat should be observed physically. So because if we argue that because of the current COVID-19, somebody is joining Salat by streaming, then we can apply that to say that when the prayer session is going on in Kaaba in Mecca, we can join. No, there is no jurisprudence evidence to support that. So the position is that we have to join Salat physically, and then we have to be conscious of the rule of COVID, that is keeping social distance and then using our mask. If there is no space for us in the mosque, then let's pray at home. May Allah guide us right.
I mean, Jazakumullah khaira jaza. This is a very, I mean, it's part of what we call a nawazil. I mean, new situations. Although they have been in relation to joining prayers by broadcast, you find, I mean, evidences. I mean, some scholars have indicated, for example, people have been asking questions, can you join prayers by radio? You know, and the ruling was no, you cannot join by radio. But now we have social media and this, I mean, issues, people are raising the question again. And I think most of, I mean, the scholars who have answered that question for now, you know, are indicating that no, we cannot, I mean, do that, as Dr. Hamza has said. But I mean, for the benefit of the doubt, I don't know whether, I mean, our other two panel, I mean, speakers have any contrary opinion to that. Dr. Musa and Dr. Hamza Alawi. Dr. Musa, do you have any contrary? Have you, I mean, come across any contrary view to that?
There is no contrary opinion. This is a universal fatwa that scholar has given. Dr.
Alawi.
Yes, I agree totally with that. Plus, it is not attractive, but it needs to be mentioned that Taraweeh is not something that we should overestimate it.
That's right.
To that level. That's just want to mention that note without taking too much time to extend
yes,
it.
Jazakumullah khaira jaza. That's very true. I mean, really, but it must be stressed because you find out that it's one of the things. I mean, you find people, I mean, you find how the mosque is filled for Taraweeh, all mosques. But I mean, the obligatory prayers, I mean, people don't really come. People talk about this quite a lot. And you remember the hadith of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, whereby, I mean, he refused to come out one night for, I mean, people have been coming for the night prayer, night prayer, and because Tarawih is also similar to the night prayer, you know, and on one occasion people had gathered, but the Prophet did not come out, you know, and later he informed that it was deliberate, because if he continued coming out, it would just be considered as obligatory on the people. So we should bear that in mind. Wallahu alam, and may Allah make it easy for every one of us. Further questions, please.
Prof, just so that you are aware, we have about a couple of hands up, a few hands up, and we still have a lot of questions.
Okay, so please let's take them quickly in terms. I mean, that is good telling us that, so we'll be able to be snappy about it. Yes, go on.
And there is a part to the question on shower that I think maybe might need answer. The person is asking about using normal toothpaste during fasting.
Okay, toothpaste, using of toothpaste. Dr. Musa?
We can use toothpaste during Ramadan, if you want to brush our teeth. We just need to make sure that doesn't go inside our throat. So the analogy used in this regard is we use siwak. And if you look at siwak we are using nowadays, you know, you can smell something in that siwak. It's not totally jaff, that is dry, that you can't have any smelling there. So we can use our toothpaste. We just need to be very, very careful that it doesn't go into our throat.
Jazakumullah khaira jaza. Further questions? Toothpaste are usable. Don't swallow it, but you can brush your teeth.
Should you turn back and return home if you break your ablution upon arriving at the mosque, or would your niyyah suffice to proceed with prayers because of the lack of facility to wash?
Okay, yeah. I mean, you know, these days people, you have to do your wudu before you come to the mosque because of COVID rules. Now, this is a very good question. Now, maybe you are close to the mosque and then you break your wudu. What will be your advice in that regard? Dr. Alawi?
The advice is you cannot pray without wudu or tayammum.
That's right.
So you have tayammum. Alternative is there. You can do your tayammum, but you cannot do your prayer without either wudu or tayammum.
Jazakumullahu khaira jaza. This is why, this is really very educative and inspiring. And, in every situation, there's opportunity to improve ourselves. Because water is always available. There are some Muslims who may not bother. They don't know how to do tayammum. They don't know, they have not learned it. So this creates an opportunity, because it's not enough just to turn back, and because Islam provides an alternative. Your wudu is broken. The sand is there. There's, sand on the floor there. So you can do tayammum. But if you don't know how to do it, you can't do it. So this is why, this type of programs is essential. Learn to do tayammum, because you might need it on such occasions. Jazakumullah khairan jaza, Dr. Alawi, for that. Further questions, please.
I think I'll take a few hand raised and go back to question. Al-Ajia Arolo, please unmute yourself.
Al-Ajia Arolo, please.
Naam, salam alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Please, my question is, excuse me, after we've performed the Tarawih, Shafi and Witri, then wake up in the night for Sahu, but you want to read the Quran. You want to concentrate on reading the Quran. Do you have to do nafla before you do the Quran, read the Quran, or you can just make your wudu and start reading your Quran and then have your Sahu after that? Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dr. Dawood Hamza.
Well, the reading of the Quran and the observing nafila, they are all supererogatory act of ibadah. So it depends on your choice. So because since nafila is not compulsory, is as I said, is supererogatory. So you can do nafila before recitation of the Quran, and there is no you can do as many rak'ah as possible to give you opportunity to recite Quran. Mark it, both recitation of Quran and nafila, they are very, very good act of ibadah that are extra act of ibadah to hand you more reward.
Jazakumullah khairan jaza. Both of them, as Dr. Hamza mentioned, are not obligatory. The Yorubas will say, no, Ramadan, kashojuko kurulada. We just have to, faman tatawa khairan fahuwa khairun la. Anybody who does an extra in anything good, it will be good for him. So if you have time, do the nawafil and read the Quran. If you feel you just want to choose one, make a choice out of the two. Nobody will be able to tell you that, well, it's the nafla that will give you more reward or the Quran. Wallahu alam. Both of them are supererogatory. So you have to make the decision to do which one you feel is convenient for you. Wallahu alam. Further questions, please.
Eniola, please.
Eniola.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi.
Prof, I noticed something, but
we can't hear you.
Apology. Sorry.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Yeah, sorry. I noticed two verses of the Quran. They said almost the same thing, but I think they are being treated differently. One is about tawaf, because I was listening to an English Quran and it said there's no harm on people come for Hajj or Umrah if they do tawaf. But and I think tawaf is compulsory for Hajj and Umrah. But at the same time, for the days in Mina, they said there is no harm on people if they do 2 days or 3 days after the Eid day, and that one is taken optional. So I don't know why that. But sorry, I just want to quickly add to what you said earlier. But maybe I don't understand. You said people have been asking about following streaming salat. I don't know if you said maybe sheikhs need to consider it now. But what I just want to add to that, whether they want to consider it or not, most of the streaming facility, they are lagging like 15 seconds, some even 49 seconds. So before the imam, you are far from the imam. You cannot catch up with the imam. So I'm just talking from that opinion, because you cannot even meet imam when he's in ruku, or so you are doing different thing entirely to the people that you think you are following. So I just want
that's fine. I mean, from a technical point of view, that's fine. I mean, that's exactly what we said. That for now, anything. I mean, it's a jurisprudential opinion, and perhaps maybe technology could be better down the road. We don't. I mean, the reason why we say for now that is the ruling. It could change down the road. I mean, if things get better and things like that. But for now, that is the ruling. I mean, generally. May Allah, continue to guide us. All right. Now the question about the ayats on tawaf and also the issue of Muna. Dr. Allah, I think, is it Dr. Alawiye, please?
Yeah. If I understood the question, now the choice between stay 2 days or 3 days, that's different. That has nothing to do with tawaf. You still have to do tawaf al-ifada anyway. But the Mina is not the same as tawaf. So I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'm not getting the right angle of the question.
Doctor.
Sorry.
Yeah, what the verse said, he said there's no harm on people who want to tawaf if they come for Hajj on Umrah. What I'm just saying is that he said there's no harm, but for Hajj, this thing that it's presented that way and it's compulsory. But for the days in Mina, the Quran said there's no harm on people.
Yes. I mean that's understood. Dr. Alawi, do you get it now?
Please educate me.
Okay. Now you see the point is this. A lot of the time this comes up. And it's about, it's a jurisprudential question, a question of usul. You find out that, in the Quran, even not only this one, in the Quran sometimes obligation, that's if something is obligatory, it is reflected by the verb used. When the imperative is used, fi'l al-amr considers it to be obligatory. But the truth is, and this is where jurisprudence comes in. And this is why, there are rules of interpretation of the Quran. And this is why a lot of the time, it's a science, you need to know it. And this is why nobody can just pick up the Quran and say, well, because I understand it, because there are rules of its interpretation. I'll give you one example. Now, in one verse, which we all know, in the ayah in Surah Al-Jum'ah, Allah says, إِذَا نُودِيَ لِلصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمْعَةِ فَاسْعَوْا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. It's an imperative. When the call to prayer is made, go, that is disperse. And then it says, فَإِذَا قُضِيَتُ الصَّلَاةِ فَانْتَشِرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ. And he said, when prayer is finished, spread. It's also a command. When the prayer is finished, spread onto the earth. But based on the nature of the two commands, all jurists agree that the first imperative, that is إِذَا قُضِيَتُ الصَّلَاةِ, when the prayer is called, go. That first go is obligatory because prayer, the nature of prayer is obligatory. But the second one, which says, when the prayer is finished, spread on the earth. It's not, even though it commands you, that one is recommended because the nature of trading is just recommended. It's not obligatory for everybody to trade. So you need to understand it in that way. Now, the reason why tawaf, mentioned, so the first one, in Hajj and Umrah, tawaf is part of the rites. If you do not do tawaf, tawaf is an obligatory rite of Hajj. So that interpretation of if you do, will be considered to be obligatory because the act of Hajj itself is obligatory. And the other one is a choice. It's a matter of choice. So a lot of the time, these rules of interpretation do exist. And this is why, we follow those rules, not just our own understanding of the language. And it's not only about the Quran, all legal systems, that is how. For example, there's rules of constitutional interpretation. We have, statutory rules of interpretation. And this is why anybody cannot just pick an English law and say, well, this is what it means, because there are rules which lawyers learn in law school in relation to when they use this word in a certain situation, this is what it means. They may use that word in another situation, it means something else. And that is the bread and butter of lawyers. So if you don't have that regulation of interpretation, things will not work out well. So it's about the rules of interpretation. It's not just about the words of the Quran. I hope that clears the ground. Further questions, please. We have 10 minutes now.
We have been told not to fast a day to Ramadan. How about the regular fasting, like the Monday fast preceding to today's fasting?
Okay, Dr. Musa, on that one.
If somebody used to do that fasting, no problem, as scholar says, but if it's not something that is usual for that particular person, it's not allowed for him to do that.
Actually, the hadith makes that clear, that except those who normally fast on those days. Any further question, please?
A lot.
Let's keep going and we'll see how far we can go. We have about 10 minutes now.
Yeah. What is the minimum or maximum Taraweeh or Qiyamul Layl that we can do? Then what can we eat food prepared by Christian during Ramadan?
Okay. Dr. Hamza Dawood.
Well, there is no anything that has to do with supererogatory act of ibadah has no limit. The limit is according to the person that is carrying it out. If you are capable of performing 100 raka'ats, that is left to you. But don't impose something that is difficult for yourself, because the Prophet ﷺ said, "Wala yushaddu ahadu din ila galabat." Anybody who make religion difficult for himself or for herself, that we turn against him or against her. So there is no in a mosque you can see some mosque performing Taraweeh 20 rak'at. You can see some mosque performing only 10, even some mosque performing only 8. So, but it depends on individuals. So if you join the mosque and then after 4 rak'ah you are tired, it is left to you to make a decision, either to continue or to discontinue. Or if you want to make nafla in your own, then you can make it. I remember in those days when I was a student in Ibadan, in Ma'had al-Arabi, we have a old scholar in one area in Ibadan that used to perform. He asked congregation that they perform Taraweeh of 100 rakahat during Ramadan. So, and so many people who are capable of doing that, they join them and they do it. So if you cannot do it, so it is only the compulsory prayer that Allah put limit. So I think that I can say about this.
Jazakumullah khairan jaza. I mean, maybe the question is raised by the fact that there are some, I mean, it's good you mentioned 8. You find out that there are some who are very restrictive. They indicate that, well, if you look in the books of Ahadith, the prayer, even during Ramadan or out of Ramadan, the Prophet never performed any nawafil more than 11. He performed 8 and then 3 witr. So you find out that people, even, I mean, sometimes people do this in relation to when Taraweeh is 10 or 20 somewhere, they'll just do 8 rakats. And by the time the Imam gets up, they get out of the mosque, they leave. As you rightly mentioned, it's a supererogatory prayer. It doesn't, I mean, the nature of the prayer is similar to the question we answered earlier. It's supererogatory, and supererogatory prayers don't have a limit. You know, I mean, as long as la yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha, Allah does not place a burden on anybody. The number you can do, I mean, at your convenience, is good because it's supererogatory. Wallahu alam, may Allah accept all our ibadat. Further questions, please.
I'm not sure if the second question on eating a Christian food was answered.
Okay, eating Christian food. Okay, let me give that to Dr. Alawi.
Well, eating Christian food. First of all, طعامهم حل لكم.
حل لكم, exactly. The Quran says it clearly.
That's a short answer.
Yeah.
The short answer is people might then argue about the pork. No, that has its own rules.
That's right.
It doesn't matter whether pork is given to you by a Muslim or by a Christian. It doesn't matter. That's another rule for that. But as far as the Christian food is concerned, you know,
yes, the Quran says it clearly in Quran chapter 5 that their food is permissible for us. Now, let me add on to that. I mean, Dr. Alawi, and perhaps maybe, I mean, if anyone wants to speak, people do ask about this as well. That, I mean, can you eat food prepared by another woman who is not your wife? People, you know, people talk about this as well. That can you eat food prepared by another woman who is not your wife for sahur and for iftar?
Well, can I just answer that? Because never mind sahur, never mind iftar. Are you allowed to be having kind of closeness with another woman that to the extent that proximity just that she has to provide for you? That's completely is irrelevant whether it's sahur or iftar. There's another rule governing that altogether.
Well, I mean, maybe if we look at it from the context of what we do in I mean, the food that we cook for sahur and iftar in the mosque are cooked by other women. I've had somebody ask me this question, indicating that I want to say, well, Yahweh and Lobodo Shunja Fun no Kenny, on the town will be one shin got to Monshe Yawa, she Alifishin. I mean, I want Dr. Not Ajnabi. We are talking about, maybe buying food from a buka, or maybe having the mosque. Women cooking food and for people to eat. Dr. Musa, do you want to respond to that?
Jazakumullah khairan. Innama al-a'malu binniyat wa innama likulli imri'in ma nawa. Every action we do is according to the intention. Here we do it. If you look at the people cooking for us in the mosque, mashallah, we know them. We know them, mashallah, and we get along with one another in the mosque. Nothing wrong for us to eat their food, but for the people that we know that, that we don't marry them, we don't legally marry them in Islamic way. So how can they be allowed to cook for us, So we have to be very, very careful. Wallahu a'lam.
Well, yes, may I just say something, please? Because the cooking, I think we're looking at it in a very broad way. Because Tesco is not my wife. I do eat what I go to Tesco and buy things, for God's sake. Now, if you're talking about cooking, somebody's living with me, that they're actually providing for me for my iftar or for my sahur. That's what's be limited. But cooking in general, it doesn't make sense because Tesco and Asda and everybody else, bread that we buy, do we know that who cooked it? We don't know. So when we say cooking for me, that suggests to me intimacy.
That's right. Jazakumullah khaira jaza. Thank you so much. Let's take one more question, please.
Oopsie. That's it. Anyway, we've got 2 hands raised. We've got a lot of questions. Okay, let me just say, okay. How can a woman with young children who demand a lot of attention maximize the benefit of Ramadan, considering how demanding raising children could be?
That's a very, very valid question. I will give, all the 3 of our panelists to briefly say something to that. What will you advise? Even though we are men, we have wives, we have children, a woman who is very, challenged by looking after children, how would you, advise for them to maximize? Let's start with, Dr. Musa.
Jazakumullah khairan. When the questioner mentioned the woman, alhamdulillah, my professor just mentioned the husband as well. We need to add a husband. To be honest with you, particularly we men, we tend to forget, staying with our kids at home. For example, we're in the month of Ramadan. You see men running to the mosque to perform Taraweeh, leaving the children, the women at home. Even sometimes we don't even care, to leave them at home. We should try to make sure that a husband or a wife will look after our children. It's even good for us to abandon some community work and start with our own family at home, the children. Look after them, whatever we can do for them, and inshallah, in reward, Allah will give us, in return, Allah will reward us, inshallah, and upbringing will be very, very superb.
Jazakumullah khairan jaza. Dr. Hamza.
Thank you very much. If we look at the Quran, Allah says, وَأَنذِرْ أَسِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ.
Yes.
So Allah counsels that we should do the work of da'wah right from our own. And that is why you see a particular school of Islamic law maintain the position that women should observe their prayer at home, because to build the community begins at home, and the woman is the first teacher, the first contact that a child has got. So in the light of that, I think if it is not possible for the mother to pray in the mosque because she wants to look after the children, I think it is better she stay at home and look after her children.
Jazakumullah khairan. Dr. Alawi.
Yeah, I think it's been said, all of it has been said. I agree totally. But in addition, men, as Dr. Musa indicated earlier on, we need to remember Muhammad bin Abdullah alayhi salatu wassalam, دائما كان في خدمة أهله.
Yes.
It takes away some burden from the wives, and it's very important for us to do the same thing, to facilitate for women as well to feel fulfilled spiritually as well, because every human being needs that to have that fulfillment as well.
Jazakumullah khairan jaza. I mean, I have really, enjoyed this today's session. You know, here they say, sometimes they say buy one, get one free. Today, it's buy one, get two free. You know, so you find out that, the panel has really been really, very, very, enlightening. We apologize for questions that we cannot answer. The Ramadan session is every day, and therefore the questions can roll on. So the questions that we could not answer, the control room will take note of them. Inshallah, we will answer them tomorrow. We have another panel tomorrow, inshallah, and we will look at those questions because they are still related to Ramadan. And the questions now, the topic tomorrow is also related to Ramadan. So don't feel dejected. You know, make sure that you participate, you come tomorrow, and those questions will be answered, inshallah ta'ala. We thank all our colleagues who have really been helping to keep this program going, people in the control room, our anchors and everyone. And also members of our panel, Dr. Hamza Imran Alawiye, Dr. Dawood Hamza, and Dr. Musa Abdul Rahim. Thank you so much. May Allah put this in your Mizan al-Khair, and may Allah continue to increase you in knowledge. Our Ya Ayyuhal Ladhina Amanu today will be from Quran chapter 2, verse 172. Allah says, Ya Ayyuhal Ladhina Amanu, Kulu min tayyibatin ma razaqnakum washkuru lillah in kuntum iyyahu ta'budun. O ye who believe, eat only those things that are pure and halal, you know, out of what Allah has provided for you. And thank Allah when you eat, in kuntum iyyahu ta'budun, if indeed it is Him you are worshiping. Particularly in Ramadan, you know, we should make sure that what we eat, everything that we do is pure and halal. Because the Prophet said, Inna Allah tayyib, Allah is clean, and wala yakbalu illa tayyiba, and He will not accept anything except that which is pure. May Allah accept our ibadat and make our work and deeds clean and pure. So until we meet again tomorrow, I'll hand us over back to our sister Fadila Alabi to sign us off.
Jazakumullah khairan. Thank you so much to all our scholars in the house. I really have enjoyed today being the first of Ramadan, and I thank Allah for, you know, preserving my life, you know, keeping me alive to witness today. Right? My take home today is that we should not, you know, we should try not to miss our spiritual prescription, just like we go to our doctor to get doctor's prescriptions. So Ramadan has been prescribed for all Muslims. So please do not miss your spiritual prescription. And so until we see you again tomorrow, it's me signing out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Let me explain. It was a British pub bought by a small Nigerian community 30 years ago and made into this masjid, but being 100 years old means that we need to carry out repair works before this masjid develops major issues. We are looking to change it from 2 stories to 6. This will allow us to increase the capacity of worshippers, inshallah. Now for the second thing on that board, the long list. We have a very long waiting list for madrasa and we can't take in more students. Expanding this masjid will allow us to do so and much more. We have children learning to be hufaz, along with our lessons on hadith studies, Quran and Arabic. So this story started 27 years ago when this was a pub, and now you could be part of this journey. We urgently need help to start the renovation and construction before it's too late. The building of a mosque is a continuous charity for a person even after they pass away, as the project's good work continues. We only need 8,000 people to give £100 or $120. We'll be able to commence the initial phase of the redevelopment and benefit the community. So please share this video, click the button and donate now. Jazakallah khairan.
My parents chose to name me Orchid Road Islamic and Cultural Center as a baby, and when the time came for me to start my family, my daughter was also named at this masjid.
Same as my story, I was also born and named there. I attended Maracas and used to play football after classes with my mates.
The Old Kent Road Mosque and Islamic Cultural Center, MAN UK, is a community where all Muslims enjoy the bond of brotherhood and the sweetness of sisterhood.
Old Kent Road Masjid has played an important role in my spiritual and social development and that of my young family.
It is a home, a place of solace for everyone, especially the Muslims of African descent living in London, United Kingdom.
This is a heritage we treasure and must preserve for the next generation. We need you to make this dream come true.
Kindly donate and encourage your family, friends, and loved ones to contribute towards the rebuilding of our mosque.
May Allah bless and reward you abundantly. Allahumma Amin.
Please help build our mosque.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. إنا عرضنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما